afternoon here in South Florida. Weather was a little bit iffy, but thankfully there was a roof here at Marlins Park, which didn't necessarily close in time. Rain came in quick, but it is closed for the opener of this short two-game series against the Atlanta Braves. Two NL East rivals going head-to-head. A night game and then an afternoon tilt tomorrow. But first, we get you set for tonight's ball game. Paul Severino, Todd Hollandsworth with you here inside the broadcast booth. Well, bouncing back from what was a tough ninth inning in yesterday's ball game against the Tampa Bay Rays. Overall, though, this Marlins team has been playing some pretty good baseball
Well,
lately.
they certainly have, and they've been resilient. Yesterday was a bad loss. I don't care how you write it up, but they won 2 or 3 against the Rays. That's the most important thing. They're off to a good start here, and they're playing some pretty good baseball. Good test tonight, though. They're 2-5 versus the Braves, and the Braves are out in front. They're one of the top teams in the National League.
Yeah, they are, despite the fact that the Braves have not been playing great in the month of July. Just 6 wins and 9 losses. That's why they have slipped out of first place. They're a game back of the Phillies, but you look at the flip side, the Marlins playing great this month.
That's absolutely the truth. You look at it and you say, okay, well, what has changed for the Braves? Well, you know, maybe it's a trade conversation. They do seem to be one of those teams that maybe needs a little help here at the deadline to get over the hump. They're ahead of schedule. I think Braves fans are saying, listen, this team is playing great baseball. If the front office can help us, they need to help this team out because they are an exciting young team.
Yeah, one of the things that we keep hearing all these trade rumors this time of year is that maybe the Braves need a starter. Well, going off the last 3 starts for Newcomb, you'd say yes, but if you'd seen how Newcomb's pitched against the Marlins, you'd say, well, he's just superb. So how do they change the narrative and get to him tonight?
Well, listen, Newcomb has been outstanding this season. He following a loss, and in fact, he's doing that because the Braves lost yesterday 11 games. He's 6-1 with a 1.99 ERA, so he's been that type of guy. But you're right, struggling in the month of July. Fastball command has been a major issue. The Marlins have been fantastic at waiting out pitchers. They're going to have to find out early tonight whether they can, if Newcomb's around the strike zone enough, if he continues to fall behind, get him into hitters' counts.
And on the flip side of the pitching matchup is Jose Urena. Slowly but surely he has come around and looking a lot like the guy who's been the opening day starter.
Yeah, a lot of the numbers really do favor him, and in the improvement that we talked about last year, a lot of us get hung up on the 2-9 record. Still looking for that first win here at Marlins Park, but you know what? Making strides, moving in the right direction, coming off a little bit of a shaky start. But again, Urena is Urena, and I think we all know what you get. When he comes, he's bringing it.
All right, we are going to step aside for a second. When we come back, the guys will handicap the NL East. It's tight at the top. You got the Phillies, you got the Braves. Maybe the Nats come to life. They'll all talk about it when we come back. That's it. Short 2-game series, the Braves and the Marlins. How is this NL East going to shake out? Let's send it out to center field to the guys.
Well, it's been wacky. The Braves won 96 back in 2013, but have not been a factor. 90-plus wins last several years. But this year, it's topsy-turvy. I mean, nobody expected this. Washington is middle of the pack. It's been a Phillies-Atlanta story so far. The question is, will that story continue?
Well, look at Phillies. Hoskins, Herrera. You've got all kinds of power. Middle of the lineup for the Braves. Markakis, Freeman. Right now, the Phillies have a 1-game edge. I think both Phillies and Braves have good enough starting pitching to keep them there. And Gabby, I think if Harper doesn't get going, if Daniel Murphy doesn't get going, if their starting pitching doesn't get going, they're not going to intimidate the Phillies and the Braves.
No, they definitely will not. What you need is that Bryce Harper to get going. You need the Murphys to get going. If they do get going on this second half, watch out, because that is a good team. And they've got some firepower with pitching. They got some firepower with hitters. It's a tough division. It really is. Right now, for me, it's a coin flip, because the Nationals can easily go on a run where they go 27-10, and all of a sudden they just run away with it.
You wouldn't expect the Phillies in Atlanta continue, but they have through 100 games, so why not? Why can't they keep going? Can both teams get in, or at least two from the East? Let's put it that way.
Right now, there's a possibility, especially because Milwaukee's kind of faltered in that bad losing streak. So, yeah, there's a possibility that could happen. I doubt it will, though.
I'm with you. I think Milwaukee or Arizona, one of these other teams, is going to grab the wild card, but you never know. There's a couple of spots, obviously, that they play for now. So we'll see, but so far it's been very entertaining, and the Marlins are going to have a lot to say about it. Get this, the Marlins have 44 games left in their division, and that run starts tonight with 2 against the Braves in this series and 12 against the Braves through August the 26th. So it should be interesting. Marlins-Braves, game 1 of the series, coming up next.
Brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By WB Mason. Who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. By Chevrolet. See your South Florida dealer today. And by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. All going in the same direction. Dragon boat racing here in Miami. Get to shore before the rains come. Braves and Marlins coming up. Jose Urena on the mound, his first start here in the second half, and this is the lineup that he will face, presented to you by Southwest. A couple of starts in the top spot in the order. Ronald Acuna Jr., he is there. Ozzie Albies a little banged up. Probably won't see him in the series. And the two All-Stars, Freddie Freeman and Nick Markakis, hitting third and fourth in this Braves lineup, which is a game out of first place in the National League East. So up against Jose Urena, who got a little extended break with the All-Star break and the time in between starts. So here he is, first time in the second half, his 20th start.
Yeah, start number 20, 4.39 ERA. How about at Marlins Park, 4.26? So a little bit less, but again, I think he's in a good spot to really make a nice run here in the second half. Surprisingly, still looking for that elusive first win at home.
Crazy to think that's been the case.
Yeah, it really is.
Wow.
He's made 4 consecutive starts coming into tonight at home here at Marlins Park. 4.30 ERA. Three of those no decisions.
Yeah, overall, his 13th start at home. Just a couple of wins on the season, both on the road. This is the third time he'll face the Braves this year. In fact, the third time that he matches up with Sean Newcomb, oddly enough. Ronald Acuna Jr. lines one out to center field. And Cameron Maben puts it away for the first out.
Let's get you the Marlins defensively behind Urena for tonight's ball game. Rivera gets the start in left field. That's right, first career start in left field, second overall. Maben in center, Anderson over in right. Prado, Rojas, Castro, and Bohr. That's your infield. JT Realmuto behind the plate. Urena on the mound.
Well, Urena gets Acuna Jr., who was 6 for 9 in the series against the Nationals that was rain shortened out of that top spot. And Charlie Culberson was 5 for 9 in that series with a home run.
It's because he got some extended playing time. Albies went down and he jumped right in and got hot. Came into the ball game on Friday night. Albies had to leave with a right hamstring injury, and that's kind of what he's dealing with. Of course, day to day, he's not on the disabled list. Albies had been swinging a hot bat, so he goes down. Culberson steps in. Couple hits on Friday night. 3 hits yesterday.
And 1 here as he finds the gap in left center field. And Rivera will cut that one off, get it in quick, but a 2-base hit for Culberson. 1-on-1 out in the first.
12th double of the year for Culberson. That ball down a little bit below the knees. Nice job extending and getting out in front. Drives it into that left center field gap. Of course, this pitch more center. Hot hitter Culberson continues it here in the first inning.
Yeah, when you're hot, you're hot. And Culberson is right now. Freddie Freeman digs in. Was 3 for 10 in the series against the Washington Nationals. A series that was, yes, rain shortened in terms of games. They got their Saturday game rained out, but not so much in terms of time. They sat through, what, 4 or 5 hours of rain delays yesterday? Didn't get out of Washington, D.C. and into Miami, into the hotel until we heard about 3 a.m. That was a 1:30 start yesterday. Scheduled start time. It's a long day.
Yeah, very complicated in the D.C. series. Right? A lot of got rained out on Saturday, as you mentioned. Snitker in his 3rd season. Much improved. Braves are 53 and 43 on the season. Second place in the National League East. 1 game behind the Phillies. A lot of talk about this Braves team and whether they can get it done. Can they win this division? Well, I contend they have the best piece of evidence, at least for me, as to why they'll win. Now, a lot of Braves fans will say, listen, we need a little help here. Our pitching has regressed a little bit in July. Our offense maybe has slowed down a bit. Those are true facts, but one thing does stand clear. The Braves are the only team in the National League East with a winning record against the National League East. In fact, they're 28 and 15. They're 13 games over against their division. Nobody else in the division even has a winning record against the National League East. If you ask me, advantage Braves.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk. Of course, the trade deadline is rapidly approaching, July 31st. Talked about it a little bit in the open. Maybe it's a starter, maybe it's a reliever, maybe it's a bat, maybe it's all three. One thing is for sure, they've got Freddie Freeman for now, and Freddie Freeman was here when they were good a few years ago. He was here through the lean years, and here as their window of winning has been reopened in 2018.
Well, and he's going to be here for a while, signed a long-term deal, so you know he's in it to win it, if you will, whether it's this year or next or the year after that. Certainly looking to improve, but the point is, I love it. I always love it when teams beat the story. And you know, I've already heard it said to me 3 times today. People associated with the Braves, they're a year ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
It just puts incredible emphasis on, you know, it rids everybody of any responsibility, puts it squarely on the front office to make a move. Like, we're early, but you better show up and get us some help because we need it.
One rolled foul, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Freeman. Yeah, you figured that this would have been the ramp-up year, kind of. You know, the on-paper discussion coming into 2018 would have been, yeah, they're going to improve. Seen him take steps in the right direction to fortify the farm system the last few years. As Freeman sends this one out to left center field and deep. And Freeman does it to the Marlins again. A 2-run home run, his 5th homer this year against Miami.
Now, Freddie Freeman is certainly not struggling. As far as lack of sleep, he may be short a few hours, but that swing was right on time. I'll tell you what, this is a changeup up in the zone. Take that back. Backup slider, didn't do much, didn't get there, just kind of spun out. He certainly left it up. Freeman did not miss it.
So an early deficit for Urania and the Marlins. And now he's got to contend with first-time All-Star Nick Markakis, who also has a good batting average this year. Certainly not the power numbers against the Marlins that Freeman has. Freeman now up to 5 homers, 10 RBIs against Miami this year. Markakis, meanwhile, 13 for 31.
Markakis riding a 10-game hitting streak coming in to tonight's ball game.
Slider.
350 during the stretch, 14 for 40.
It's Kurt Suzuki on deck. Two on the way. Fended off. Still 2-2. Yeah, first trip to the All-Star game for Nick Markakis. Started the game in right field. Got over 3.5 million votes. Most among all NL outfielders. To think he's been playing for so long, that was his first All-Star selection. Just in terms of career hits, if you want to go that route, 2,165. Second most in Major League history by a player who had never been to the All-Star game. Juan Pierre tops that list. In there for a called strike 3.
Nice job by Urania getting the 2-seam fastball back to that inside corner. Just enough run. Sometimes he throws through that break and it'll stay inside, but gets it all the way back. Nice job by JT for out number 2 here in the first.
It's Kurt Suzuki digging in. 3 for 16 this year against Miami, but 8 homers and 32 RBIs overall. One for 5 in that series against the Washington Nationals. In his last 7 games, he's cooled off a little bit. Just 3 for his last 26. In the air to Rivera. Dances around a little bit left and puts it away. A 2-run home run from Freddie Freeman gets the Braves on the board. Freeman home run. So to the bottom of the first we go, and we check in on the Marlins starting lineup, presented to you by Southwest. Starlin Castro at the top, and then Brian Anderson hits number 2. JT Realmuto on the heels of a 4-strikeout day yesterday, looking to bounce back. And Cameron Maybin, boy oh boy, has he been red hot since toward the end of June, hitting over 300 with 3 home runs back in center field, and he hits 6th for the Marlins today against Sean Newcomb, a guy who they have seen already. Now this is the 3rd time this year.
Well, quality starts at 11 of 19. 11th start this season following a Braves loss, as I mentioned in the open. 6-1 with a 1.99 ERA, so he's looking to be stopper again today. 3.79 ERA, 11 starts on the road.
Gets the sign from Suzuki and delivers to Castro. First pitch in there for a called strike. Castro 0 for 4 yesterday, 3 for 12 in the series at the Trop. Did score a run. A home run and 3 RBIs this year against the Atlanta Braves, a team that the Marlins will see quite a bit of in the, well, it's much past the second half of the season, as we are into the hundreds of games already. Back tonight for the Marlins, it is game 102. But a lot of divisional games coming between now and the end of the regular season.
Well, that's why the Marlins are going to have an impactful rest of July, August, and September. I mean, again, we throw it out there early. I mean, that's what the Braves have done well, is played better baseball than everybody in this division against the division, but the Marlins have something to say about it, and they're 7-3 in their last 10 games.
And Castro works the leadoff walk.
All right, let's get you the Auto Nation scouting report for tonight's ball game. Chilly July. All right, I gave you all the good about Newcomb. There's some bad to go along with this. Now, 0-3, 9.75 ERA, 3 starts with a whip of 2 in the month of July. He is struggling coming into this start. And number 1 on the list is that fastball command. We've already seen it with Starlin Castro. He has not had it. His strike rate has gone down. Coming into July, he was at 63%. He is at 56%. I mean, that is huge when we talk about where we're at in the season at 100 games. That his strike throwing ability has gone down this far. 2nd highest walk rate in Major League Baseball. 3rd most walks per 9. And we mentioned the payback. You mentioned it early. A couple of starts against the Marlins. .75 ERA and 2 wins.
Off the glove of Newcomb, up the middle. Oh, what a play, and dug out by Freeman. Boy, oh boy, not easy at all for Swanson, as it may have taken a little redirect off the glove of Newcomb, but it led him right to the second base bag.
Well, the ball slowed down just a bit after that little bit of a ricochet, and you saw Swanson stutter step. Nice job there, kind of time out his steps a little differently, so a little in-game adjustment. Now Swanson's one of the best in the National League. 10 defensive runs saved. That's 3rd most in Major League Baseball. It certainly tells you how valuable he has been to this Braves team, and gets it done.
So the leadoff walk erased, and here is JT Realmuto. JT took the collar yesterday, 0 for 5, 3 for 13 with a run scored and a double in St. Pete in the series. He was the DH yesterday, back behind the plate today. Count even up a ball and a strike.
I don't think it changes the game plan, even with the double play. I think ideally Marlins would love to find out if Newcomb can throw enough strikes, especially early. We talked about the number of walks, inability to command the strike zone. Got to find out the Marlins do, and they're very good about this. Marlins have seen the 4th most pitches in July.
(3-1) on the way to Realmuto, and the count full with 2 outs. Well, that right there was a swing and a miss. He had 2 of those, did Newcomb. in his last start.
Well, he hasn't been able to get ahead of hitters.
This one rolled to short. Much more routine for Swanson. And we are through one here at Marlins Park. Set so short that the Braves will be in Miami for likely about 36, 38 hours. Not that much. They
I
got
doubt
in
they'll be here tomorrow at this time. Less than 24.
That's right. Well, if you
don't even
everything,
don't
just, no, I'm
even.
saying everything. They got in at 3 a.m.
Right. I thought you were going somewhere. You're talking whole trip.
Whole trip.
I got you.
In Miami around 3. They'll leave by game over 3, maybe 5-ish tomorrow. They get out of town.
Yeah, I thought you were throwing that extra innings thing in there.
No,
tomorrow.
No. Come on now.
We don't need that
Afternoon game with a day off Wednesday. Nobody's rooting for extra innings tomorrow. Well, then maybe the kids. Camp day.
Oh, there you go.
So the kids will be rooting for extra innings.
More.
Yeah. Johan Camargo to lead things off. Ender Inciarte and Dansby Swanson here in the second. A 2-0 Braves lead after a 2-run home run from Freddie Freeman to left center field in the first off of Jose Urena. Cut on and missed. The ball and 2 strikes. Freeman looks on as Camargo shoots it foul, still 1-2. Well, for Camargo, he leads the team with 25 RBIs since the beginning of June. He's at third base tonight, and of course the Braves are very much alive when it comes to the National League playoff picture. Just reading different articles from different perspectives. For as good as he's been the last month and a half, third base might be a spot the Braves look to improve over the next week or so.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Remember, right around the last time we saw them, Jose Bautista was the answer at third base.
Right.
And a few guys were, kind of being viewed as maybe utility players. Now Camargo's played himself back into the position or back into the starts. They said, I think we were better off giving him the starts all along. Camargo's responded, although it's not at that, well, dare I say, the Manny Machado level. I hope that's not where you were going with that. But the point is, he's done a pretty decent job.
In and out of the first row, still 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I mean, you mentioned it, 25 RBI since the beginning of July. It kind of coincides when he was kind of given the job back. I mean, he became the everyday third baseman May 20th. So just a few days after that, he's been driving in runs pretty regularly.
This one a chopper to short, and Rojas up with it for the first out. Hey, Pablo Lopez did some cool stuff for us before the game. Let's check in.
With the Marlins Flex 4-pack, you can customize a plan to save on individual game pricing and lock in priority access to giveaways. Starting at just $20, take your pick of games and access giveaways, including our first ever celebrity bobbleheads. Visit marlins.com/flex4.
What can't he do? I mean, seriously.
Tell you, kid's got a big heart and he's willing to do anything.
4 languages, heck of a pitcher, nice guy, great promo reader.
He says yes to everything you ask him.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
And if you'd asked him to do that after the game tonight, you know, 11:30
Right,
or whatever,
right.
he'd be like, sure, what do you guys need? He's that kind of young man.
Yeah. And his last time out, just his 4th big league start, but arguably his best. 6 strikeouts in 6 innings against the Tampa Bay Rays.
Well, Pablo has endeared himself to his teammates rather well. He's fitting in well down there. Good things going on.
Low and in to Ender Inciarte. Count now 2 balls and 2 strikes. There have been some ups and some downs this year for Inciarte. Quite literally, when we talk about the lineup, he's been at the top, he's been at the bottom of it. Tonight hitting 7th and lines this one foul into the seats.
Well, Inciarte in most of his big league seasons. Now, of course, he's a great defender, a couple of Gold Gloves. Big second halves offensively. It's kind of how he rolls. He's had a couple years where he's been better in the first half. I know those numbers are down, but has notoriously been a second half player.
In the air toward Anderson in right field. Drifts back a few steps for the second out. That'll bring up Dansby Swanson. Last time we saw Swanson, he was the hero on a Sunday afternoon in a wild 9th inning comeback from the Atlanta Braves. Only bring that up because it looked a little bit like yesterday's.
Yeah, I just see how you're tying that together.
It's the only reason why I brought it up. This one down the left field line and hit well. Rivera's back. And Swanson goes deep. 3-0 Atlanta.
Well, 8th home run of the season for Swanson. He too is going to pick on a breaking ball. Let's take another look. A slider up in the zone. No tilt. Right about the belt. That is a mistake. Up. I guess it's this point of the show where I'm going to mention it. I was kind of hoping we'd get a little farther along. The Braves are one of the best teams in baseball in handling non-fastballs. It's as simple as that. And we've seen it already tonight. Both home runs have come on the slider. Against non-fastballs, 3rd in the National League with a 242 average. That's pretty impressive.
Outside to Sean Newcomb, 2 balls and a strike to the Braves starter tonight. He's now staked to a 3-0 lead. 2-2. Well, we're about an inning and a half into this game, and already Swanson has his fingerprints on it. Not only the solo home run, but also the slick defensive play up the middle that led to a double play in the bottom of the 1st inning.
Well, for Urania, the problems at home continue. ERA at 4.26, very respectable. Giving up 10 home runs coming in. Now 10 of 12. 10 of the 12 home runs he's given up have been at Marlins Park.
Three-two on the way to Newcomb. Is in there for a called strike 3. Caught the bottom part of the zone. Swanson home run makes it 3-0. lead. A couple of home runs, a 2-run shot from Freeman, and one knockout punch. No, I'm just saying because it's Evander Holyfield in town from Dansby Swanson. Cricket gives you something to smile about. You better smile when you want to take a picture with the real deal.
That's right. Real deal come up here and knock your teeth out.
Yeah, he will. And I would not put up a fight. Trust me on that. I would be running the other way. That is the official boxer picture pose right there.
Fantastic.
Anytime you happen to run into a boxer, including Ted Barrett probably,
Well, just so you know,
that's the pose.
I watched a little bit of this.
Yeah.
Never said no to anybody
Right.
who went up to him tonight. I thought that was quite impressive. I mean, he didn't run out of time until time ran out, if you know what I mean.
Right. Justin Bohr takes one outside. A ball and a strike to JB. Bohr, Martin Prado, and Cameron Maben due up in the second. Little work to be done for the Marlins. Down 3-0 against Sean Newcomb. This one lined out to center field, and that is a solo home run for Justin Bohr. A laser to center field.
Home run number 16 for the big guy, JB. Boy, oh boy, is he going to get into a breaking ball. Newcomb's going to hang one out over home plate right about the waist, and he is going to unload. Now, I didn't see this coming. I didn't think there'd be 3 home runs in the second inning of tonight's ball game. But how about it? 80 miles an hour, top of the zone, big breaking ball. Newcomb missed. Well, good hitters, that's what you do. You make them pay.
There's Martin Prado. Takes a strike.
If you're wondering, JB is now 2 for 4 in his career against Newcomb with 2 home runs. Both his hits have left the building. 431 feet, 106 miles an hour off the bat.
Kind of a low trajectory on that one, too.
Let's go ahead and give you a little stat cast powered by AWS. You see this tracer as it's heading into the bushes. I appreciate Inciarte taking out all the suspense as he kind of gave up on it a couple of feet before the track. We're always appreciative of that.
Chopped foul off the bat of Prado. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Martin 5 for 27 with an RBI and 4 walks this year against the Atlanta Braves. Yesterday was 2 for 4. Now a broken bat. The ball and the bat go toward third base, but Camargo is able to make the play as the bat, part of it at least, was spinning over his head.
Well, we've gotten quite busy, and we have not given you the Braves defense for tonight's ball game. Let's get that for you. Acuña's going to get the start in left field. Inciarte in center. Marquez over in right. He's also got a couple Gold Gloves. Go look with Inciarte, who has 2. Camargo, Swanson, Culberson, and Freeman. Suzuki behind the plate. Newcomb on the mound. A chance to run. I know Newcomb's a lefty-lefty matchup, but Suzuki's only thrown out 2 of 26 base stealers this season. The Marlins, including the man in the box, have been running a little bit more.
Absolutely. He's got 5 stolen bases in July. If you go back a couple of days before July 1st, Cameron Maben's got himself a .315 average and a .912 OPS. All 3 of his home runs in the last 3 weeks or so. Now a hitter's count on 2-0 takes low and away, 3-0. And a 4-pitch walk to Maben. That'll bring up Miguel Rojas. Second walk issued by Newcomb. 7 homers, 37 RBIs for Rojas this year. Last time he hit a home run actually was in Atlanta. Speaking of the home runs, he had 2 on May 20th. His first career multi-home run game against these Braves. Takes low. Well, Newcomb, that was his 27th pitch, just 10 strikes. So the trend continues.
Well, the Marlins are pretty good about this. We'll see how it develops. Of course, we're only halfway through the 2nd inning here, but it's something you can play off of. Remember, this Braves team comes in. I know they had Saturday off because of rain, but a long day yesterday, a tiring day, and you have the potential for some tired arms based on today's game, tomorrow's 12 o'clock start, and maybe getting Newcomb out of there early if, in fact, they can drive up that pitch count. We've said that a number of times this year, where the Marlins have been fantastic about doing that to some of the better starters in the game of baseball, in fact. That's why I mentioned month of July, you see the 4th most pitches. Now, it doesn't always translate into, well, they've got the highest batting average or the highest OPS, but it does speak to their approach. And the Marlins have done a fantastic job here in the month of July. And of course, it's translated into a little bit more winning and nearly 5 runs a game of seeing a lot of pitches, fouling off a lot of pitches, in fact.
Two 2-0 on the way to Rojas. In there for a called strike. Well, listen, I'm not making excuses for Sean Newcomb. I don't know what type of a sleeper he is. But, I mean, you said tired arms, and that's what made me think about it. I mean, we saw last night the Mets and the Yankees were supposed to play the Sunday night game. That got rained out. The Yankees are in St. Pete tonight. And Luis Severino, as this one skips away from Suzuki and up to second goes Maben. The Yankees figured it was going to be a late night, so they flew Severino ahead. The Braves had no idea. It's a 1 o'clock game, 1:30 start. So as the team gets to the hotel at about 3 o'clock in the morning, so does Newcomb. Again, I have no idea if at all that plays into kind of where he's at, but it does play into some of the numbers, at least in terms of this start playing into his numbers that have been kind of iffy his last 3 or so starts. 3-1 to Rojas. And back-to-back walks.
Well, 3rd walk to 7 hitters. Walks continue. Hey, Marlins fans, now you can stream games live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go, presented by Coors Light. Download the app and take Fox Sports Florida and Marlins baseball wherever you go. A little team meeting. I'm sure this is as much about what's going on in this game as what's been trending with Newcomb. We talked about it. Lack of command. Came in, I mentioned it in the AutoNation scouting report, chilly July, 9.75 ERA. How about a whip of 2? And it tells you it all. Of course, he's given up a few home runs and he's given up some hits, but a lot of traffic, a lot of falling behind hitters. It's a key at bat for Rivera.
Maben on at second after the walk, and Rojas on at first after the walk. So it's the left fielder Yadiel Rivera, 2 on 1 out, a run home on the Justin Bour home run. That is a stark difference between June and July for Sean Newcomb.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, 2.67 ERA over 5 starts, 3 July starts, 9.75. Back it up even a month, go to May. How about 5-0 with a 1.54? I mean, this is what's been developing. Dare I use the word fatigue? I don't know Sean Newcomb as well as the Braves do and everything else, but the numbers tell you, at least in my opinion, he looks like he's laboring with his command. It's as simple as that. His ERA has gone up in 4 consecutive starts.
Well, this is his 20th start of the season. He made 19 starts at the big league level last year. He misses well out of the strike zone to Rivera.
Let's take a look. Look where Suzuki sets up. He wanted that to be a high strike, and he nearly threw it to the backstop.
That that one low and in, 2-2. So yeah, he's given the Braves this year about what he gave them last year. He made 19 starts at the big league level, at 57 more innings in the minor leagues. So a grand total last year of 157.2 innings, or 2/3 innings. This year, coming into this start, was at 105. So ground ball and an around the horn double play. Well, it's a nice way to get out of the inning if you're Sean Newcomb. Marlins have hit into double plays in the first 2 innings, but they have a home run. JB goes deep, 3-1. Cast is presented by Authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions to this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Ooh, come get some pork sandwiches at the Taste of Miami. Looks good. We'll see it again. That's fresh right there. I don't know everything that was in that sandwich.
Just eat it.
But it looked scrumptious.
Trust.
Yes. To the top of the third. Top of the lineup for the Braves, Ronald Acuna Jr., Charlie Culberson, and Freddie Freeman.
I told you how Acuna has done in the top spot, this being his 3rd spot as the leadoff hitter. Had a huge series, 2-game series in D.C. How about this one? Youngest player since 1900 to homer and steal 2 bases in a game. He did that a couple nights ago. It's the Nats, July 20th.
Yeah, he's been the youngest to do a couple of things this year. He is certainly a youngster. He was the youngest before Juan Soto came up, but between Acuna Jr. and Juan Soto, Marlins Brian Anderson, of course, all 3 of those guys making noise. Certainly, if you ask around in any particular order, probably the top 3 when it comes to National League Rookie of the Year. Anderson's played in, I believe it's all but 1 game as Acuna strikes out. But the bottom line with the Braves is that whether it's Acuna, Albies, whoever it might be, this is a young team with some veterans in there as well, and that's why you kind of look at how this team has gotten incrementally better on July 23rd, today's day, the last couple of years. They were in last place, 33-65 2 years ago. Last year, 3 games under 500 in second place. This year, 10 over 500. A game back of the Philadelphia Phillies.
Well, it's translated into tons of optimism in the city of Atlanta and this Braves team with rising expectations. You kind of pair it with where the Nationals are at. I think that's part of the story. The reason I mentioned now a second time that the record against the National League East, that's the category that the Washington Nationals used to dominate for the last, I don't know, 5 to 7 years. Sure. In the East, it's been the Nationals just beating up on everybody in this division. The Braves have flipped that script. Said, time has passed.
Wow, another broken bat. This time it's Culberson. And Prado having to deal with the bat flying at him, just the way that Camargo did last half inning.
Well, this fastball is going to get it all in Culberson's hands. Cost him a bat. And nobody hurt. I think there's a pretty good chance that you're going to see some of the sequencing that we've seen here in the third from Urania for the rest of his start.
Freeman, right center field, and that will fall in. Anderson comes up with it in the gap, and another hit for Freeman.
Well, no waiting around. 27th double of the season after hitting a 2-run home run. Picks on this changeup. Center cut, caught a lot of the plate. And you tried to fool him with the lack of velocity. Of course, Maben swung over towards left center field.
It's like Freeman was watching the Open Championship yesterday. That ball just kind of checked up.
Well,
plopped into the gap there.
Sure did. He's a hot hitter.
They have intentionally walked Nick Markakis to set up the force at any base for Kurt Suzuki. So that's it'll go down as the first walk for Urania today. Had 4 walks his last time out to tie a season high.
To finish the thought on Urania, I was kind of getting at that slider. Both home runs in tonight's ball game have come against the slider. I mentioned that the Braves are a pretty good off-speed hitting team. Expect him to use the fastball changeup combination at least the second time through the lineup. Imagine that trust in the slider is not very high right now.
It's pitch number 55 for Urania. It just narrowly misses Suzuki. 2 balls and no strikes. He got Suzuki to fly out to left field to end the first inning. Inning in which the Braves scored 2 runs on the Freddie Freeman 2-run home run to the left center field gap. Moments ago, a double to the right center field gap. And foul down the third baseline. Comes the 2-1, and that one does get Suzuki after coming close to him a moment ago. The bases will be loaded.
Well, in some regards, the complications, 9th hitter this season that Jose Urania has hit, of not really trusting his slider at this stage of the game. He's got really nothing to get away. He's got arm side run on both his fastball and his changeup, so everything, as you saw, was inside to Suzuki. And this changeup, I know at 89, but that's his changeup. Gets away. That's where JT wanted it. Missed by a good foot.
That'll bring up Camargo once the meeting on the mound comes to a close, and the home plate umpire Mark Rippinger out to chat and say, let's wrap this up, gentlemen. Rest of the umpiring crew today: Doug Eddings is at first, Joe West is the crew chief at second, and Marty Foster is at third. Well, another RBI opportunity for Camargo, who leads the team since the beginning of June. But 2 outs in the inning for Urania, so 1 pitch from getting out of this jam in inning number 3. Lined into left center field, and that's in there for a base hit. Freeman and Markakis come around to score. And 2 more ribbies for Camargo. It's 5-1 Atlanta.
Well, Camargo does what he has been doing best since the start of June. We told you the number of RBIs he had. These 2 RBIs are going to be picked up with 2 outs. They're always big. Stays right on it, lines it into left center field. Braves up 5-1 now.
Here's Ender Inciarte, takes low. Pitch. It's fouled away, 1-1. Inciarte flew out to Anderson in right field back in the 2nd inning. Braves have scored some runs this year against Miami. In their wins, they've scored 9, 10, 4, 8, and 10. Now this one lined out to center field. Maben will make the catch, but the Braves put 2 more on the board and lead it 5-1.
For the Marlins, Garrett Cooper could be heading to the DL yet another time this year. He re-injured that right wrist in the game against Tampa Bay, fielding the ball on Friday. He was not available yesterday, and Don Mattingly told me it's very possible the team will add a player for tomorrow. Cooper got an MRI this afternoon. We have not gotten any results of that, so we may find that out in the postgame. And based on that, the Marlins will make their decision. But it certainly seemed like, talking to Mattingly today, they're leaning in the direction of it's not going to be quick, and they need guys on the bench with a short bench to begin with. Only 4 players, guys. So Cooper probably headed to the DL. We'll see who comes up. Hopefully in time, the Marlins hope for tomorrow's game, which is at noon. But if they get a great result here, you never know. That's the way they're leaning anyway.
Yeah, Craig, thanks. An MRI, and then it sounds like the hand specialist will be next. So for Garrett Cooper, it's been a rough go. He's kind of, started. He was the opening day right fielder for the club. got hurt shortly after that. Kind of came back for a day, was on the DL for an extended period of time. Came back after working his way back through the whole rehab thing to get kind of back on track. I mean, it wasn't like he had so much time. He had to kind of go through spring training again, in a sense. As Urania strikes out for the first out here in the third.
Well, it's unfortunate as far as playing time is concerned. Real opportunity. Club was trying to get him out there pretty regularly since his return from the disabled list the first time.
Craig mentioned the early start time tomorrow. Camp day here at the ballpark. Julio Teheran and Wei-Yin Chen. Marlins live on the air at 11:30 a.m. for a 12:10 first pitch. Short 2-game series between the Braves and the Marlins. A day off Wednesday, and the Washington Nationals in town for 4 over the weekend. And then more Braves coming up on the backside of that. A road trip to Atlanta and Philadelphia. Starlin Castro with the ground ball to second base. 2-way.
Well, if my calendar is right, I think it's going to be interesting, as we inch closer to the trade deadline, and I believe that we will be in Atlanta on the 31st and maybe even the day prior to, right? Sunday and night. Yeah, I think it'll be what, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week.
You're right. You are correct, sir.
Well, it's always interesting to be around a team that is buzzing. I mean, there's a short list of teams that I think we all, even as fans of the game of baseball, kind of put a responsibility on in that, boy, they're really good, but man, if they just get the right guy. The Dodgers thought it was Manny Machado.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, is making his first start at third base tonight.
Well, it sounds like Justin Turner may be headed to the disabled list if he's not already there. Kind of a re-aggravating the right groin injury that set him back earlier this year. 7 days, 19 hours, 54 minutes, and 18 seconds, 17 seconds.
I'm going to hold my breath for the next 18 seconds just to make it through that part of the trade deadline.
It is a fun time, though. Driving in, listen to the radio.
Speculation,
who's going to
rumors.
get what's got to be made, what move should be made. Brian Anderson draws the walk.
Fourth walk tonight by Newcomb. The Marlins have not been able to do anything with the 4 walks. One thing I can tell you, they will not ground into a double play in the 3rd inning.
They have the first 2, however. Here's JT Realmuto. JT with the ground out to shortstop to end the first inning. Deemed low by the home plate umpire. 2 balls and no strikes. You go back the last month or so of real time, 28 games worth, a .330 average and a .923 OPS for JT Realmuto. So he's been playing at a rather high level consistently throughout this season. Currently hitting .306, 12 homers, 45 RBIs. This one out towards center field. Backing up is Culberson. He calls everybody off and makes the play. We go to the 4th, 5-1. promo guy, Pablo Lopez.
Join the Marlins Foundation and Fox Sports Florida for the 13th annual fantasy auction, powered by South Florida Ford. Mark your calendar for July 26 for an opportunity to bid on autographed memorabilia and unique experiences. For more info, visit marlins.com/fantasy.
Another excellent job by Pablo Lopez. Yeah, we are looking forward to that with the Nationals in town. 13th annual Fox Sports Florida fantasy auction coming up. Lots of different packages that you can bid on. As Dansby Swanson takes a little inside, a ball and no strikes. It is Swanson, Newcomb, and Acuna Jr. here in the fourth. Swanson with a home run in the second inning that at the time gave the Braves their third run.
Well, this slider at the top of the zone certainly was a mistake. Swanson didn't miss it.
This one slowly rolled, barehanded by Prado, and he makes the play. Excellent job by Martin Prado. Had the one option, barehanded, get rid of it quick.
That's going to be our bonefish fresh catch of the game. And who says you need leather to make a fresh catch? That's right. You just need a good barehand and a strong throw across the diamond. There it is. No doubt a special play by Martin Prado. Well done. All in one motion. Tell you what, Martin's game has been elevated both offensively and defensively since he's been back. I know we talk about the numbers an awful lot, but he's been doing a great job at third base.
Nothing in 2 to Newcomb. You know, on that play, the third baseman kind of has to aim not at first base, right? He kind of has to aim so the ball will sail back.
Absolutely. Urania, get down. That's why Urania's down. You're absolutely right. You're anticipating it because you know you're going to be quicker from the side. Now, the ball is down, your arm is down. You're not going to stop in your tracks and get your arm going all the way over the top. Got to throw in one motion. So when you throw underneath, think Brad Ziegler,
right?
You see that tailing action to the arm side. Martin Prado knows that's going to happen too. So in order to get it right on line with JB over at first base, it's got to start up the first base line just a bit.
Executed to perfection, and then more of a routine play for Prado. 2 ground ball outs here in the fourth. Back to the top of the order for Ronald Acuna Jr. Takes a 97-mile-an-hour fastball inside for ball one. A fly out and a strikeout tonight for the youngster. 1-1. A Freeman homer, a Swanson homer, and a Camargo 2-run single accounted for the 5 Braves runs. One-two pitch. Misses. I mentioned the Braves have an eye on the Philadelphia Phillies in the standings. I don't know if it's too early for scoreboard watching. I'm sure the Braves are more concerned with the Marlins right now than the Phillies and Dodgers, but we can tell you that the Dodgers have a 3-1 lead in Philadelphia. Game in the top of the third. Max Muncy with another home run, his 23rd. Yasmani Grandal, his 14th. Chris Taylor, his 12th. And Maikel Franco, his 14th. So 4 solo home runs in Philadelphia. We've had 3 home runs here in Miami as Acuna Jr. draws the walk.
Are you ready for storm season? We are. See how you can prepare at fpl.com/storm.
So 2 walks tonight, 1 intentional, 1 conventional for Urania. And now here's Charlie Culberson. This one in the air, right field line. 3 guys going over there, and nobody's going to make the play. Too long a run for Castro and Anderson.
the Bermuda Triangle. Right around ground to cover, even in foul territory. JB no shot at it. Starlin too far to go, and Anderson as well. It's one thing that's unique about Marlins Park. There's not a whole lot of foul territory down the lines, but you never notice that many balls that are foul that actually hit the ground really don't get caught.
Yeah.
Most of the corner outfielders are tucked away, covering the gaps. It's just too far to run. There's not a whole lot of foul territory there. You think, well, that should be pretty easy for somebody to catch a ball that high even off the bat. What you realize is everybody's so far away from it because this ballpark is so big even between the lines that a lot of the foul balls just end up foul.
Well, it was kind of funny. We were just in St. Pete. We're just at the Trop. You know, we're waiting for Don Mattingly to talk down in the dugout. And the baseline from the third base dugout to the baseline, it seemed like another 30 feet. A lot more ground. I mean, not every ballpark is created equally. Just ask the Coliseum in Oakland. But yeah, it is amazing how, and nowadays all those seats kind of getting a little bit closer to fair territory. That's a fair ball, for sure. A line drive into right field, and Culberson's got his second hit of the game.
Well, Culberson continues to swing a hot bat. His 7th hit in his last 3 games.
There's the Florida Lottery in-game jackpot. Freddie Freeman, his career against the Marlins broken down in the wins and the losses. I guess there's one way to put it. He's been a big part of their wins. Hitting .340, 14 home runs. He's got one tonight to go along with the double.
Well, the Rangers going to have to find a way around this developing trend if the Marlins have any hope of winning this ball game tonight. Second inning, got ahead, got 2 quick outs, gave up a home run to Swanson. Third inning, 2 quick outs, double to Freeman, walk to Markakis, and then trouble to follow. 2-run single by Camargo. You see here in the second, 2 more outs. Couple of base runners now. Walk to Acuna. Single by Culberson, and as far as the Marlins are concerned, the hottest hitter on the planet in the box.
Well, this has little to do with what he's done against the Marlins, because he's done it against a lot of different teams. But I think still, with about 2 months left to go, as the next sort of discussion of the season, right now everybody's focused on the trade deadline, but when that kind of comes and goes, the next discussion will be who's the MVP, who's the Cy Young, the Rookie of the Year. That will begin to churn a little bit more. And I think Freddie Freeman will be certainly in the discussion in the National League for a Most Valuable Player award.
Do you think that's tied to the team's success at all?
If I were voting and it was the tiebreaker, that's how I look at it. I don't have a vote, but if I did.
What I'm really asking for all Marlins fans is, does winning matter? I've always believed it did, and I think that if the Atlanta Braves continue to win, it's only going to help his case.
Yeah.
Although I know that the sabermetric kind of community discussion lends itself to the individual side of the game.
Well, he gets Freeman. A strikeout to end the 4th, but the Marlins down 5-1. is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The Cleveland Clinic. And by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. The Miami Children's Museum. A lot of kids will be in the ballpark tomorrow for Camp Day as this two-game series wraps up. A little after noon tomorrow, the Braves and Marlins get things going, but for now, the bottom of the fourth inning. Sean Newcomb will face Justin Bohr, who took him deep his last time up. Then Martin Prado and Cameron Maben.
For JB, second home run this season against a left-hander. Second home run against Newcomb in his career.
Well, he gets Bohr to swing and miss, and there was a note to go along with something I mentioned earlier for Sean Newcomb, who gets the ground ball to the right side into the shift, and Bohr is retired. So last time out against the Arizona Diamondbacks, this was the Sunday before the break, Newcomb just 2 swings and misses all day. It was the 13th time since the start of 2016 that a Braves starter had 2 or fewer swings and misses in an outing that consisted of at least 50 pitches. And some of that ties into what you were talking about before. He's thrown a lot of pitches. He's having a tough time putting guys away. Guys are just getting a little piece of it to foul it off, or, you know, dribbler back to the mound, whatever it is. But that put away stuff that we have seen in the 2 starts this year for Newcomb, maybe the last few starts hasn't been there.
Not there as much. And that's trying, you know, part of what he's working towards. It's, you know, very easy in the game of baseball. You watch it long enough, you can talk about hitters who go into slumps because you always back it up with, you know, evidence. 0 for 11, 5 strikeouts, 0 for 15, a couple of double plays. Ball ripped into the left field corner by Martin Prado. Settle for a single. Great swing by Martin. Pitchers go through slumps as well, Paul. I mean, it happens all the time. Show it to you in terms generally in ERA. Of course, whip is very popular. One thing we know about Newcomb, he's just walking too many guys. It's pretty simple. Too many guys on base. In fact, even in this ball game, has thrown more balls than strikes. I mean, it kind of catches your attention because it's a 5-1 ball game. You say, well, wait a minute, he's cruising along bottom 4, but check this out. 32 balls, 25 strikes. He's been aided by a couple of double plays. 2 pitches have got him 4 outs in this game. I think the offensive philosophy tonight for the Marlins would be the word grind. Grind him out, force him back out over the plate. As we know, you don't throw enough strikes, generally umpires will fall into rhythm right with you. Not going to get those borderline pitches.
Two 2-0 to Cameron Maben, who takes a strike.
That's interesting because you don't look at Newcomb's numbers and think, okay, well, we'll blast our way back into this ball game. Lefties are hitting 194 against him. Righties just 220. His stuff plays. Just has a hard time controlling it.
Well, again, the last time out against Arizona, recorded a strike with just 7 of his first 21 pitches, walked 3 of the first 4. I mean, it's been the same thing tonight. As you just mentioned, less than half of his pitches have been strikes. He has consistently been working from behind. And Maben up the middle. Oh, Culberson's throw not in time. A terrific effort to keep that on the infield, but the speed of Maben will give him an infield single. And a slid to get to it, popped up through. I mean, a pretty play, but not enough for the out.
Well, it's almost the tilt. You know, you think back to the first inning, right? Brian Anderson, kind of a similar ball, a little ricochet over the mound, and they were able to turn a double play because the ball kind of led into it. This away. So right there, Culberson kind of moving away, and Maben speed too much. So only the play at first base, only shot you got. Too much speed for Maben.
So a chance here for the Marlins to perhaps put a dent into this 5-1 deficit here in the 4th with 2 on and 1 out. And Miguel Rojas, who walked in the 2nd inning, digs in against Newcomb. upstairs. Action in the Marlins bullpen. Ben Mayer up. Rojas, Rivera, and then Urania due up. Haven't seen Meyer since before the break. 15th was the last time he pitched. He's getting set now, and certainly the Marlins would hope that that's a situational thing, that Urania has to get lifted because the rally needs to continue. We'll figure out a way to keep the line moving here against Newcomb. So it's to 65 pitches. South Florida Honda dealers have Marlins live for you tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Craig Minervini, Tommy Hutton, and Gabby Sanchez. You know what it is? It's
brunch.
It's brunch with the bunch. That's
Wow.
what they should call it.
Been working on that all first half, weren't you?
Yeah. Or the last 6 seconds. There's a base hit by Miggy into right field. They will hold the runner at third, and they'll be loaded for Rivera. So a golden opportunity here for the Marlins in the fourth.
Well, 3 consecutive base hits have set the table once again. Nice approach. The changeup down and away. Rojas, great swing, patented swing. We've seen him do this a number of times this season. One of his favorite places to go when he's going good, into right field. He's not going to test the arm of Markakis in this situation. You're trailing by 4. Puts Rivera in a situation he was in similar to the second inning. Couple of runners on. Got it into a 5-4-3 double play.
Dietrich has moved into the on-deck circle as Rivera fouls it back to the screen. 0-2. Of course, we just left an American League City where we played with the designated hitter. This is where strategy kind of comes in to play. Now, Urania hasn't been his sharpest today, where you kind of have to make that call as to whether or not his night is done. And as Dietrich walks to the plate, looks like that will officially be the case. So Dietrich announced as the pinch hitter. Urania done after 4. But again, an opportunity for the Marlins to cut into a 4-run deficit here in the 4th inning.
Now, Dietrich 3 for 13 pinch hitting this season. All 3 hits are doubles. Done a very nice job throughout his career. 18 for 69. That's a .261 batting average with 3 home runs. And you say, is this the spot to get Dietrich in? I say, yes, it is. Last 2 hits, a double and a home run versus a lefty.
Chases 94. 0-1. Prado, Maben, Rojas, the runners third to first. Oh, 0-2. Dietrich was 1 for 5 yesterday with a double, 4 for 13 in the series against the Rays. Called strike 3. Went at him with 3 fastballs and retires Dietrich. Work out of the bases loaded jam.
great, real deal. Evander Holyfield, the only four-time world heavyweight champion. Evander, first of all, great to see you're a Florida resident. A little baseball in your blood. Did you ever play baseball?
Well, I played, but I just wasn't good. I run fast, but couldn't hit the ball.
But you enjoy watching it.
Oh, I love it.
Tell me about some of the great moments. We were just talking off camera. I was at the fight against Tyson, that first fight. You were 25-1 earlier. Then you came by fight time 11-1. You never cared about the odds against you.
Well, odds didn't make no difference. The most important thing is going out there giving your very best, and I was able to do that, and I won.
Did you dream of this when you were a kid, to be this successful, or did you go even beyond your dreams in your sport?
Well, I went beyond, because the fact of the matter, I wanted to be a world champion. But in being a world champion, that means that when the game is over, that's it for you. I went past, because I had a good mama who told me, she said, son, you got to be a good person. You get a person, then you start helping other people. And that's the same way I came up. My mom didn't have no money, but I had a good attitude, and I got a lot of breaks, because the fact is, people deal with people who have good attitudes.
Mother's belief can go a long way, too.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for that.
Now, you're down here in Florida the last couple of years. You're promoting boxing. Tell me about your connection to the fight world.
Well, of course, me being the only full-time heavyweight champion of the world, so the big thing, appreciation, is giving back. So I'd rather be a promoter and give people opportunity more so than be a trainer and training somebody to beat somebody. I'd rather just give them an opportunity.
That's good for the sport, too. Thanks a lot for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
A real deal, guys. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Craig and Evander. I thought for sure Craig was going to pick a fight just to see how it played out. He let me down.
Here's the thing with Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield is the nicest guy that could knock you out, isn't he?
That's right.
Right? I mean, you sit there and you listen to him. He's charming. He's off the top. I mean, he just kind of captivates you, even listening to him. And then he comes at you and gives you a right cross, and you're going down.
Exactly.
That's right. That's what your mama told you. Beat you up with kindness.
That's right. That's right. Ben Mayer taking over for Jose Urania. Gets a ground ball out to shortstop. The first batter that he faces, pitching in his 8th game. See if he can give the Marlins a little bit of length. They made a double switch. Dietrich, who pinch hit, stays in the game. Yadiel Rivera is out. So Mayer into the number 8 spot in the order. A couple of innings out of Mayer, as here comes the 2-0 to Suzuki. This is a little low. Again, haven't seen him since before the break, when he worked an inning against the Phillies. A couple of strikeouts. It's his 3rd stint with the Marlins this year. All up on July 5th, most recent. 3-1 to Suzuki, who flew out and was hit by a pitch. And now Suzuki gives this one a ride down the left field line. And just foul.
What is there, 4 blue seats on that side right there from our vantage point, and he found one of them?
I think so.
I mean, how is that even possible?
See, because, I mean, catchers who hit him down the line, like Carlton Fisk, you're supposed to wait at home plate and wave it fair. He didn't do that.
Is that what keeps it fair?
It was his fault.
Blow it back?
Yep. Power of positivity. Well, takes the walk. 1-on-1 out here in the 5th. So the final line on Jose Urania: 4 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. What'd you make of it?
Well, when I pair that with what I know about the Atlanta Braves, he fell victim to essentially the scouting report, at least in my mind, and came in carrying some information on it. We talked about the Atlanta Braves and what they're really good at offensively. They're tremendous. I mentioned it early, 3rd in the National League against the off-speed pitch. Their 3-run scoring hits, 2 home runs, and a base hit by Camargo all came on off-speed pitches. The 4 strikeouts, all on fastballs. Kind of played right into that. Braves they're not a bad team against the fastball, but they're a little bit more towards the middle / bottom of the pack. They're very good against secondary offerings. Urania basically tried to get through this talented Braves lineup, and they've been struggling a little bit in the month of July as far as their record is concerned, and runs per game only 3.9. He basically didn't have a breaking ball tonight.
Of course, when he does have that on those nights is when he's dominant.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing coming into tonight's ball game. Well, I can break down the Braves any way you want as far as, you know, what they do against fastballs, what's their batting average, 100 square positions, but what are they really good at? For Urania, he has no tilt. He's in trouble.
Backhanded by Rojas, turned by Castro to get the double play. Nice job up the middle. Rojas with the backhand, and then Castro gets rid of it quick. We go to the bottom of the 5th. First of a short 2-game series between the Marlins and the Braves. Atlanta in control right now, 5-1. This day in Major League history, a couple of times, in fact. It's presented to you by Geico. Don Mattingly, his 1,500th hit, double off of some guy named Randy Johnson. And then 3 years later, 500 hits later, number 2,000 against Russ Springer. Both on July 23rd in 91 and 94 for Donnie Baseball. Swing and a miss to Starlin Castro. Top of the order for the Marlins. Castro, Anderson, and JT Realmuto. Miami had a chance in the 4th inning against Newcomb. See if they can mount another rally and cash in this time. And the bases loaded and 1 out. Rivera struck out. Dietrich struck out. And Newcomb got out of trouble. Walking to ground out tonight for Castro. He fouls this one back. The last 8 games for Starlin, it cooled off a little bit. He's now 6 for 34 over the last 8+ games, but 13 multi-hit games over his last 23. With that collection of multi-hit games, he entered the day leading NL second baseman in hits with 115, ahead of Ozzie Albies. Needs a couple of days. Castro swings and misses for the first out here in the 5th.
Start your day with First Things First. Join Chris Carter, Nick Wright, and Jenna Wolf for the best morning's sports show on television. First Things First, weekdays on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Your morning routine just got a whole lot more fun.
Brian Anderson now takes a strike on the outside corner. 0-1. Anderson grounded into a double play in the first, walked in the third. One of 4 walks tonight for Sean Newcomb. This one's fouled into the second deck. 4 walks and 4 strikeouts for the Braves lefty tonight through 80 pitches. Well, Newcomb doing what he's done most of the 10 times this year. Holly mentioned it before. But following an Atlanta loss this year, this is the 11th time that he's pitched after the Braves have been defeated. Fouled again down the right field line. Coming into this one, first 10 games, 6-1 with a 1.99 ERA and a 2.02 batting average against. Now maybe the batting average, 4 hits in 4 innings, is a little bit different, but just the 1 run allowed in the Bohr home run. Camargo at third, spins and throws. 2 down.
Well, to his credit, he stayed with the game plan despite the lack of command for most of this ball game. He continues to use his arsenal, the big breaking ball, the changeup, the fastball as well. I think at this point of the game, you start to look back at the beginning of the ball game and say, were there a few missed opportunities on the Marlins' behalf? And would this game feel a little bit different had they not ended a couple innings with double plays?
JT Realmuto 0 for 2 tonight. Skips in for ball 1. Ground out in the first. Pop up in the third. Just looking around, they're in the middle of the 6th inning in Cincinnati with the Cardinals up 1-0. And the young man who's starting for St. Louis tonight, Daniel Ponce de Leon, his major league debut, has not given up a hit through the first 5 innings. This is a guy who was hitting the head on a line drive while pitching at AAA. Worked his way back. His big league debut tonight as Realmuto sends it out to the track in center. Inciarte puts it away. We're through 5 at Marlins Park. Marlins back in 2014, playing with the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp at AA. 6 for 11 since his promotion from A-ball. A 5-game hit streak where he's 9 for 20. 22-year-old out of Falls City, Texas. Speaking of Jacksonville, Monte Harrison with his 13th home run of the season. He is 3rd in runs scored, 8th in hits, 9th in home runs. Twine, by the way, is 4th consecutive multi-hit effort. So good things happening on the farm for the Marlins as Ender Inciarte leads things off. Bottom third of the order for Atlanta. Inciarte, Swanson, and Newcomb against Ben Mayer here in the 6th. The seeing eye single through the right side to lead things off. In steps Dansby Swanson. Solo home run down the left field line back in the 2nd. His 8th of the year, which at the time gave the Braves a 3-0 lead.
Well, heads up for Inciarte. 23 stolen bases on the season. A threat to run at first.
Swanson 1 for 2 tonight, and if you go back to a pinch hit home run that he had on the 24th of June. His average creeping towards 290. This one out toward left center field, and Maben will get there. Enough air underneath it. Bluff at first, but Inciarte returns one away. For Swanson, a former #1 overall pick, although not by the Braves. Now Sean Newcomb. Expecting the bunt, lays it down. Real Muto will get to it. He directs Prado to cover 3rd, makes the play at 1st for the 2nd out.
That'll create an opportunity for Acuna Jr., the runner in scoring position.
Mayer's job right now is to keep this at a 5-1 deficit, keep this game within reach. Newcomb's up to 89 pitches, so bullpen will be looming for the Braves. And this one into right field. They are going to test Anderson. Here comes a throw from right. It's high. So it's an RBI single for Acuna, who goes to 2nd on the throw. 6-1 Atlanta.
Well, tonight's theme has continued. 2 out runs for the Atlanta Braves. My goodness. Acuna picks on a fastball, stays inside it. It's in 3rd, goes the other way. Test the arm of Brian Anderson. This throw strong but high. You see JT come out. He was trying to make a play at 2nd base.
We've seen this a lot this year. This is a relentless Braves club.
Well, and it's the same theme that we've talked about. Even if you go back to the series in May, which is the most recent one, 21 of the 26 runs the Braves scored in that series came with 2 outs. Tonight, 4 of 6.
And now Culberson, left field line. That's going to one-hop the wall. In to score is Acuna Jr. on the RBI double by Culberson.
I'd to say 5 of 7.
That is his 3rd hit of the game.
The top of this lineup has stayed hot. I told you Culberson picked up some playing time. Albies was shut down with a hamstring injury. He slid right in on Friday and has not stopped. Came in with 5 hits in a game and a half and has got 3 more hits tonight. That is the definition of hot.
One on, 2 out for Freeman, who offers it the first pitch to the right side of the infield into the shift. Rojas makes the play, but 2 more for the Braves in the 6th inning. Lopez.
We have a premium giveaway on this Saturday as we take on the Nats. Be one of the first in the gates to pick up your Marlins pullover. Presented by Ocean Bank. Tickets start at just $15. Visit marlins.com/giveaways to purchase your game tickets today.
He's 3 for 3 today. He is absolutely 3 for 3. Terrific giveaway coming up here at the ballpark. Getting ready to take some hacks. Who knows? Strike to Justin Bour, 0-2. Bour, Prado, Maben. Bour with a solo home run in the 2nd inning, accounting for the only Marlins run in this ball game. Shot out to center field, his 16th homer of the year and 46th RBI. One-two from Newcomb. Misses low. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Great swing on an elevated breaking ball his first time up. 16th home run. 2nd against Newcomb in his career.
Strikeout is the 5th of the night for Newcomb.
Are you ready for storm season? We are. See how you can prepare at fpl.com/storm.
One out now in the 6th inning as Martin Prado digs in. A base hit his last time up in the 4th. And there for a called strike. Well, slowly but surely Newcomb has thrown more strikes. A little over the 50% mark right now. It's his 96th pitch, 50 strikes.
Well, I think it's fair to say that the Atlanta Braves offense has created a favorable circumstance for Newcomb to settle in. I mean, that's kind of what you get at here. We talk about applied pressure all the time in the game of baseball, and it's where it goes back and forth between the Braves and the Marlins. Marlins had a few opportunities early, weren't able to capitalize on them. Newcomb was struggling with his command, but gets backed up by 7 runs.
And Prado out to left center field. A long run back for Inciarte, who is going to get there and track it down. Boy, he covers ground with the best of them in center field.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, what's so impressive about Inciarte is not necessarily the foot speed or how, you know, he gets there speed-wise. It's the route that he runs. Look at how direct this is. I counted 1 step off, and that was more of a drop step to get back on the ball, and then a cut across. Wow, pretty impressive.
And the celebration, not only from Newcomb, but from Acuna Jr. with the arm going right up in the air after Inciarte makes the catch in the gap. So Acuna is in your picture right there. Yeah, there you go.
Well, I'm sure he's used to seeing that. Inciarte, Gold Glove winner. And certainly showing it off right there. Youthful enthusiasm.
Yes.
Well, Newcomb was pretty excited too. I saw his hand in the air. He settled in. Point being, you know, we were talking about why, you know, we're seeing this run despite the walks, despite laboring a bit in this game at 101 pitches now. And the offense backed him up, Paul. I mean, that's just it. Talk about, again, the applied pressure. The offense took it off of Newcomb's shoulders. A couple of meetings early on the mound as he was struggling to get it done, but the offense showed up and changed the tone of this game.
This one out to Acuna in left center field. He'll make the catch. And we are through 6 with the Braves in front here at Marlins Park. Beanie enjoying the night here at Marlins Park. Absolutely. The Braves certainly enjoying the night as well. Current hitting streaks, Nick Markakis is at 10. He and Jairo Munoz, Anthony Rendon all at 10. Trevor Story up to 13. Starling Marte at 15. Toyota Trend, the current hit streaks in the National League.
Markakis came in hitting .350 over his 10-game hitting streak. He is hitless tonight. Over 2, intentional walk in the 3rd inning.
It'll be Markakis, Suzuki, and Camargo against Ben Mayer, who is out there for his 3rd inning of work.
You look up and down this Braves lineup. It's hard to ignore, at least in my opinion, why many people are picking the Braves to make a run in the National League East, especially if they can add maybe a few pieces at the deadline. When you look at the lineup, the one that usually includes Albies, I guess, is where I'm going with this. It's not a knock on Culberson. He's done a very nice job off the bench. He's one of their top utility players. But the point is, Freeman, Markakis, like Freeman and Markakis, to me, you know, they're two of the best hitters in the game.
11-game hit streak.
And hitting.
Make a turn towards second, and he is in there. Nick Markakis with yet another double. It's kind of been his calling card.
It sure has. 461st double of his career. There you go. Give you that number. Elevated fastball, thigh high, outer third. It's kind of the direction he likes to go, generally speaking, so that hit streak will continue. Kind of what I was getting at, talking about the Braves. Balance. You know, maybe the one thing they lack is a little bit of right-handed power, but you look at the speed, you got Inciarte, you've got some defense, you've got great hitters in the middle of this lineup. Tell you what, pretty relentless offense.
Now Suzuki in the air to right field. Plenty of room for Anderson with a foot on the track to make the catch. Tagging and moving to third is Markakis.
Well, that will set up a RBI opportunity for Camargo, who's already cashed in with a base hit tonight and a couple of RBIs. He mentioned, I think it was just almost a trivia question. I kind of kidded you with that. I said, being the top RBI guy for the Atlanta Braves since June 1st. And I know that you weren't about ready to guess Camargo, were you?
No. I mean, I had cheated and
Albies, Freeman, Markakis.
Marlins have the infield in with one out. That one inside, 2 balls and no strikes. Markakis, the runner at third, after extending his hit streak to 11 games. He's had hit streaks of 19 in his career back in 2011, and an 18-game hit streak, as that one got a piece of Camargo. Markakis just checks in on his teammate.
Now this is way down early. Almost the middle of the left-handed batter's box. Catch him right on the knee, right on top, that right kneecap. Second hit batter tonight by the Marlins.
Markakis at third, Camargo at first. Here's Ender Inciarte, who will test the gap in right center field, and that will get down. In comes Markakis. Camargo's knee looks just fine as he rounds third. Here comes the throw to third, and Castro's throw is on the money. Prado applies the tag, but 2 runs come in. Inciarte extends it to a 9-1 Braves lead.
Well, early aggressive hitting. Inciarte jumps on a fastball, inner third, lines it into right center field. Nice job by Anderson, cutting this ball off before it gets to the wall. Good relay throw. The out at third base of Inciarte. He was pretty convinced he had a good shot at a triple. He was thrown out by a good 20 feet. Braves have 7 extra base hits tonight.
And 11 hits total. They've scored 2 runs in the first, 2 in the third, 2 in the sixth, 2 in the seventh. And Swanson's solo home run back in inning number 2.
What time did you say they got in?
I guess it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and they got to the hotel.
They come right over here and start taking batting practice?
Riding on adrenaline. Sometimes that happens, right? East Coast team goes west, right? They always
Maybe.
get in late. You ride on adrenaline. They're just trying to loosen up, get ready for the quick turnaround after tonight's game into tomorrow, the noon start.
I think it's fair to say it's got to be one of their top 2 performances offensively here in the month of July. Actually been struggling for the most part. As I mentioned, only scored 59 runs in the month. They only hit 12 home. They had only hit 12 home runs. That was actually 14th in the National League. A couple of those tonight.
Left side, sliding play by Rojas, but the throw not in time. Boy, terrific effort in the hole, but an infield single for Swanson.
Now, tremendous effort by Rojas. Even fielding this as deep as he was. Swanson out fast out of that batter's box. Really no chance of throwing him out.
Michael Reed will pinch hit with 2 outs here in the 7th inning. So that is the end of the night for Sean Newcomb. Another quality start for Newcomb. That is 12 for him this year, breaking a tie with tomorrow's starter, Julio Teheran, who also had 11 quality starts entering this ball game.
Well, Reed's had an impressive run in the minors this season. 41, 10 home runs, 462 on base percentage, 80 games.
Pitch on the way, misses up and away to Reed, originally a 5th round pick of the Brewers back in 2011. Cut on and missed, and the 7th inning is in the books, but 2 more runs for Atlanta. They lead it 9-1. Ponce de Leon pitching for the St. Louis Cardinals. That's the first strikeout of his career, making his major league debut. Bottom of the 4th, Dexter Fowler with the play in right field. And then the ground ball right back to him to complete the 5th. He's currently pitching into the bottom of the 7th inning. He's got a no-hitter to this point. Keeping an eye on that as well. I'll finish the story, which is certainly fascinating on the young man. He was hit in the head on a line drive while pitching at AAA in May of 2017. Had to have emergency brain surgery. Missed the remainder of the season. This year, 9-3, 2.15 ERA, 103 strikeouts, 92 innings at AAA Memphis, and attempting to get through 7 no-hit innings, perhaps even more, as he is, in fact, up well over 100 pitches. As I look now, those last pitch he just threw was 114, so he might may be done after 7.
Maybe
but a terrific story.
Combined no-no? Is that what you're going for?
Could be, yeah. But a terrific comeback story nonetheless. We play on here in Miami. Miguel Rojas leads off. The new pitcher is Shane Carl. He gets Rojas to tap that one toward the Marlins dugout. After 6 innings from Newcomb, it is the righty Carl out of the Braves bullpen.
One of 3 rookie relievers they have in their bullpen. 5.01 ERA, last 19 appearances.
So he comes in after Newcomb, who tonight went 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, an earned run, 4 walks and 5 strikeouts. But again, this was the 3rd start of the year for Newcomb against the Marlins. Combined 18 innings, 2 runs, 15 strikeouts. So Newcomb has had the Marlins number this year as Rojas fights that one off to stay alive. Moore's home run back in the 2nd. The only run of the night for the Marlins as we play on here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Rojas on a hop to Swanson, who spins and throws. 1 away.
JT Riddle's going to get the pinch hit. He's 0 for 4 as a pinch hitter this season and in his career. You know, it's interesting, Paul. You mentioned Ponce de Leon throwing the no-hitter. You and I were having a fun conversation earlier today. Certainly worth mentioning now because I think it's one that kind of catches everybody's attention. Much has been made about the state of the game of baseball. I think for some, the game has gotten a little stagnant. And I guess when we're talking about no-hitters, now's the time to bring it up. So through today, there have been 25,107 hits coming into tonight's action all throughout Major League Baseball. There have been 25,281 strikeouts. More strikeouts than hits. That's where I'm going with this. If that in fact happens, it would be the first time ever in the history of the game of baseball where we've had more strikeouts than hits in any one season. We've gotten close a couple of times, much like last year, but get this. I mean, this is where, I mean, I suppose this is where my attention is you know, I'm really reeled in on it. So last year, in all of baseball, 2017, there was a difference of 2,111 more hits than strikeouts. And that's as close as it had ever been in the history of the game. Understand that the big leaguers already are chasing the hits with the strikeouts. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're down already. So think about it in terms of what we've got about 60 games left, but we're already talking a difference of over 2,000.
Yeah.
The game is changing in front of our eyes. There's no doubt about it. We're seeing strikeouts at an alarming rate, and we're not seeing hits anymore the way that we used to.
No, not at all. I mean, after the walk to Riddle, here's Derek Dietrich. I'll finish my thought after the first pitch from Carl to Dietrich, who takes a strike that is a little low and away, but a strike nonetheless, according to Mark Rippinger. Back when you played, which was not long ago,
thanks,
was there a sense of, I think embarrassment is maybe the right word, when you struck out? You know it's a part of the game, but was there an embarrassment?
Well, I'll tell you that story all the time, and 2000, I was heading to Atlanta for a 4-game series, I think right there towards the end of the season, and I was at 96-ish, and I remember telling a couple of my teammates on the charter flight to Atlanta that I'm not striking out 4 times in the next 4 games. That will not happen. And I can proudly say that and again, I know it's a different conversation and a lot of people view it differently, but for me, in the way that I was raised to play this game, I would have said, I do not want to strike out in triple digits ever in my career, and I never did. But that's about as close as I got, and I know I got really close a couple of times, but I mean, I guess that's kind of the point, that it's not viewed the same way any longer. You're absolutely right. But when you look at how the game is changing, and I don't like to use the word stale, but somewhat stagnant, and we don't see guys nearly running as much anymore. The stolen base is kind of on its way out. Not as many guys are trying it.
Well, that's why there's been a lot of discussion after Carl gets Dietrich for the second out here in the 7th inning. Hold that thought, because there might be a little developing story down in the Marlins dugout. Earlier this half inning, it looked as though Miguel Rojas may have been getting a little bit of attention around his hand, I believe. Checking on that in a second as Castro flies one out to right field. Well, we've got a lot of loose ends to tie up when we come back in the 8th inning. Talk strikeouts and Rojas next. I misspoke before. I said it might have been the hand of Rojas. Turns out that's not the case. As he grounded out, goes down the first baseline, kind of reaches for his back a little bit. You can see it right there. He starts to wince about 2/3 of the way down the line. And was getting looked at by the medical staff of the Marlins. And it looks like, or in fact, his night is done. Riddle takes over at shortstop. But Rojas heads to the clubhouse. Riddle in. That's the change. One of the changes. As Brett Graves takes over out of the bullpen, and Brian Holiday behind the plate. We get JT Realmuto off his legs for another couple of innings with the short turnaround tomorrow. And again, Graves in for the 5th time this year. Rule 5 pickup by the Marlins. See if he can wrap things up, get the last 6 outs. As he'll face the top third of the Braves order: Acuna Jr., Culberson, and Freeman. Haven't seen Graves for a little while, not since the Rays series that was here in Miami at the beginning of the month of July. Pitched 4 innings in that extra inning, 16-inning game. As Acuna Jr. fouls this one back and out of play. There for a called strike. So what we were talking about before the break was strikeouts. There's been a lot of this chatter around the game because of the All-Star game, and it was exciting to some, to many. The 10 home runs was exciting, but there were a lot of strikeouts, and that was kind of the game today. Today's baseball in 2018 was that home runs.
We love to see the home runs. I don't think there's any fans that want to see less homers. I really don't believe that. I don't like to see less homers. Homers are fun. I mean, we love home runs, right? But does it feel like it's all, you know, can we not have it both ways? Is that a fair question to ask?
Sure.
You know, maybe, because I mean, I look at it that way as a former player.
This one lined out to right field over the head of Anderson, who will barehand it off the wall. He gets it in quick, but it's a stand-up double for Acuna Jr., who continues to hit out of the leadoff spot for Atlanta.
Sure does. Second base hit of the night, third time on base. Boy, is he getting it done. So a couple of different articles written about Acuna, you know, moving up into that top spot. Sometimes you get that spark plug that you're looking for. I told you the Braves offense down a little bit here in the month of July, and seems to have ignited not only Acuna's game, but the Braves as well. 8 extra base hits tonight. 6 doubles, couple homers.
Well, Culberson's got 2 of the doubles. Doubled and scored in the first, and RBI double in the 6th.
I guess the question that you have to ask yourself, you know, in regards to offense in the game of baseball today, is it more about merely the home runs and overshifting? Like, you see what I'm saying? You know, is it the mindset of the offensive players? And I partly believe this, that, you know, we talk about overshifting and we say, well, why don't enough guys go the other way? And some people will say, you know, why is he doing that? Why would he give his at-bat away on a bunt? I mean, we had a perfect example over the weekend. You and I had a chuckle about it. In fact, Matt Carpenter was on a home run binge in Chicago. Comes out, I believe it was Sunday's game against Jose Quintana, tough lefty. They play him, everybody on the right side of the infield. He drops down a bunt and ends up scoring a run in the first inning as the St. Louis Cardinals took the lead. You know, but the idea is, did he give up an at-bat there where he may have gone deep? I just feel like we're somehow in this idea that it's got to be one extreme or the other, and somehow, you know, the offensive approach of, you know, building an inning or thinking that you can string hits together is getting away from the game just a little bit. And I mean, I certainly think it's explained a little bit more in the fact that we're about ready to do something in the history of the game of baseball that's never happened before, by a wide margin, no less. I mean, think about it. There's already a negative number in place. There's more strikeouts than hits. Right. So unless the offense cranks it up, and I'm not saying they can't, because again, it's summer months, pitching starts to wear down a little bit, but the biggest gap there had ever been was just over 2,000. All that would have to be made up.
On 3-2, Culberson goes up the middle, his 4th hit of the game, and it will bring home the 10th run for the Braves. Once again, we check in with Pablo Lopez.
Manage your dream team in franchise mode, plus get weekly stats, roster updates, and more. RBI Baseball 18 is available now. Learn more at rbigame.com. Rated E for everyone.
Terrific job. And a big thanks to Pablo Lopez for recording those before the game. He, like Culberson, 4 for 4 today.
Agreed. I'm starting to think I picked the wrong game to bring up my little rant on the offense.
I understand your point.
At least one side of this conversation.
I got your point. Yeah, no, absolutely.
10-1, 9-run deficit for the Marlins here in the 8th. Well, we were talking about this earlier today. I just found it, you know, a very interesting some very interesting numbers. I mean, I don't. Never thought I would really throw that out there that way. When you look at it,
We didn't think it would exist. That's why.
Well, right. That's the point. And like I said, chasing the trend.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so curious to see where the final numbers end up.
Scary high, potentially. Nick Markakis takes strike one. Well, the conversation kind of started with Daniel Ponce de Leon and how he's been pitching for the Cardinals. He got through 7 hitless innings. His pitch count was at 116. Markakis, foul territory. That will reach the seats. So after 116 pitches, 7 innings of hitless baseball, he was pinch hit for. So the Cardinals have gone to the bullpen, and now fireballer Jordan Hicks has registered the first out of the 8th inning against the Cincinnati Reds. And keep in mind, yes, there's a no-hitter. Well, there was a no-hitter.
I believe it just ended.
It did. A base hit up the middle has ended the no-hit bid in Cincinnati as Nick Markakis grounds one foul. It was Phillip Ervin with a base hit up the middle. 7 1/3 no-hit baseball combined for the Cardinals and Reds. What I was going to say was still a 1-0 game. So still a tight ball game.
Clean single too.
Absolutely. 0-2 to Markakis. Scored a couple of runs in this ball game. Takes upstairs. Ball and 2 strikes. Struck out looking in the first. Intentionally walked and scored in the third. Grounded out in the 5th inning. Doubled and scored in the 7th.
I guess the question that really has to be asked, and I do wonder what fans generally think on this one, will the game once again fix itself, or does it need help? I know that there's been those closest to the game that have argued that shifts should be banned and different things that would help, you know, bring some life back to the offense. Generally speaking, you know, the game, as I mentioned, kind of always fixed itself. Meaning, you know, the pitchers always had a swing. Next thing you know, they're rolling, dominating. We're talking strikeouts, and I think it was like a couple years ago we were talking velocity. Boy, how are the hitters going to deal with all the guys throwing 97 miles an hour? Well, what did they do? Started getting that front foot down a little earlier and lining balls across the infield.
Just like Markakis did for the 2nd out of the inning. Time for the Coors Banquet Timeless Moment. Jackie Robinson, July 23rd, 1962, inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, along with Bob Feller. It's a pretty good class, I will say. Of course, the Hall of Fame inductions coming up on Sunday. Jim Thome, Vlad Guerrero, Chipper Jones with the Braves in town, can't forget him, and Trevor Hoffman. As Kurt Suzuki fouls this one down the right field line. Also Jack Morris and Alan Trammell as well. So it'll be a busy day on Sunday. Fouled back to the screen by Suzuki. Peter Moylan up for the Braves. Just looking this up, a record 60 Hall of Famers are scheduled to be in Cooperstown this weekend. Suzuki out toward left center field. Maben is able to track that one down. But the Braves add another and lead it here in Miami. After the night game tonight, an early afternoon game tomorrow. Braves and Marlins on camp day here at the ballpark. Marlins Live is on the air at 11:30 a.m. First pitch a little afternoon. Julio Teheran and Wei-Yin Chen, the two starting pitchers in the finale of this short two-game set. It'll be the 16th start of the season for Chen, who has pitched much better at home. So coming out of the All-Star break, the Marlins able to work the rotation in a way that could be beneficial to Chen. As Peter Moylan comes in, the Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. We'll face Brian Anderson, Brian Holliday, and Justin Bohr.
Well, Moylan just got off the disabled list about a week ago. Right forearm strain. He's not pitched a full inning since he's returned. He's pitched in just one ball game. A third of an inning with a couple of hits and a run. He's allowed at least one base runner in 26 of his 36 outings this season.
This is inside to Anderson. 0 for 2 tonight. Grounded into a double play in the first, walked in the third, and grounded out in the fifth. Dribbler back to Moylan for the first out. Coming up at the conclusion of this ball game, it's the W.B. Mason Marlins Live postgame show. Craig Minervini, Tommy Hutton, and Gabby Sanchez from center field here at Marlins Park. Braves offense waking up tonight. 10 runs, 14 hits, and we'll hear from Don Mattingly as well. We are sending backup, Craig. Don't worry. Chill out. They'll be there. Or Greg can have Evander Holyfield join him on the desk. And he can pick that fight with the real deal like I hoped he would before. Two 2-0 to Brian Holliday. Has a 4-game hit streak going. 4 for 13 in that 4-game hit streak. is popped up right side. Freeman towards the seats. And in and out of his hand.
That's okay. Well, it's okay. You got a picture with Evander Holyfield.
Yeah, that's true. Luis has got to make that play. Oh. Gotta have it. It's one of our more loyal Marlins season ticket holders. He's been in a couple of different cities on the road. I want to say San Diego. That we saw, said hello to him. Yeah. Because I asked him, I said, "You're here more than I am, for goodness sakes." Holiday out to center field. And Ciarte is able to make the play. Boy, over his shoulder on the backhand. Made a couple of pretty plays out there in center field. And Ciarte showing why he is one of the top-rated center fielders in the game.
Yeah, good swing. Ryan Holiday drives it almost off that warning track. Ciarte, I'll tell you what, I think when you get to see him every day, you kind of expect him to make these catches. When you see him like we do, I think, boy, oh boy, that's getting over his head. Oh, no, it's not.
No.
He made 2 of those tonight.
Justin Bour takes a called strike. Bour with a home run back in inning number 2. Two from Moylan. Out to center field. And it will be Ciarte again. This one goes to the 9th here at Marlins Park. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By La Lechonera, the original mojo since 1970. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. A toasty night here in Miami. 10-1, Braves on top as this game moves to the 9th inning. Second inning of work for Brett Graves. A view from behind the fish tank, behind home plate. We were asked about that on the road because we were just in St. Petersburg, and in right center field at the Trop, they of course have the Ray tank. Somebody was asking us about that. It's got to be. I don't know the answer to this. I should probably find it out. But how thick that glass is behind home plate?
Oh, it's thick.
I mean, because the fish, they don't scatter on foul balls.
No.
So I don't think they feel it. That's how thick the glass is.
He had a couple of foul balls last year. A base hit. The Atlanta Braves. Relentless offense tonight. A couple of foul balls last year. Some serious exit velocity that hit the glass square. Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Fish were like, got nothing. Yeah, you're in my world now.
You have an aquarium set up at the house?
Not other than the lake behind my house.
It's not an aquarium. That's a lake.
That kind of is.
You think you need glass for it to be an aquarium?
Now and again, you get to see an alligator. You went to the zoo to see an alligator. I just walk out back.
That was a big old crocodile too, about 12 feet long. You do not want to see that guy up close with no protective glass in front of you. Let me tell you that. It was eye to eye with the great beast.
Ciarte, a couple of hits tonight. Double, single, couple RBIs.
And a couple of nice plays in center field as well. He'll register another knock. 2 on and nobody out here in the 9th inning.
Well, this pitch up just above the thighs. Arm side run, but Inciarte stays on it, drives it into center field.
There's Dansby Swanson. Homered back in the 2nd. Added a single in the 7th. And a ground ball to short. Riddle goes to Castro, to Bohr, and Swanson beats it out.
Just does beat it to the interior of Justin Bohr's glove. An RBI opportunity.
The Preston Tucker off the bench for Atlanta.
That's right, for Tucker, 2018. 7 for 29 as a pinch hitter, does have a home run. He's got 3 pinch hit home runs in his career of the 11 hits.
Comes the 1-0. In there for a called strike. This was a game started by Jose Urania in search of his first home win of the season, but went 4 innings, gave up 5 earned runs. Braves jumped him for 2 in the 1st inning on a 2-run home run from Freddie Freeman. And that one hit Tucker. That'll load the bases for Acuna Jr. Acuna Jr. with a fly out in the 1st inning, strikeout in the 3rd, walked in the 4th, an RBI single in the 6th. And he came around to score as he did after his double the 8th inning.
The Atlanta Braves have had 22 base runners tonight. Hit by pitch. 3 walks, 16 hits. Scored in 6 of the first 8 innings and are threatening once again. We're in the 9th.
After a meeting on the mound, here's the pitch to Acuna Jr. inside, ball one. Down low. Braves again came into the ball game a game behind the Philadelphia Phillies in the National League East. Evan Phillips up for the Braves. Game behind the Phils, who are tied with the Dodgers at Citizens Bank Park right now. 5-5 in the 7th. More hits out of that leadoff spot for Acuna Jr. That is 8 from the leadoff spot in the last 3 games. He takes a strike. Just off the edge, and a bases loaded walk will give the Braves their 11th run of the night. Loaded again for Culberson, who has 4 hits in this ballgame, which is a career high. This one in on the hands to Prado, who makes the play. But another run comes in to score on the RBI groundout. So another ribby for Culberson. He's got 3 in the game. Ryan Flaherty to pinch hit for the Braves here in the 9th inning.
Flaherty 4 for 19 this season as a pinch hitter.
Couple of home runs, 13 RBIs, got off to a really good start for the Braves. He kind of gave way to Camargo for a little while. He bounced back and forth on the infield with some playing time. Then Bautista was in for what seemed to be 20 minutes or so before going to the New York Mets. Two-1 from Graves. Fouled back to the screen. I'd be surprised if the Braves scored again here, because they've scored 2 runs in 5 of the 7 innings that they've scored tonight. So it's just like a even number kind of feel, you know. So I think Graves gets out of it.
We shall see.
Told you.
You go, Nostradamus.
Bottom of the 9th on the way. on a classic. They're loaded with prizes from $10,000 to $2 million. So unleash the excitement anytime. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. Hello. How are you? Good to see you. Thanks for sticking around. Clip that off for the holidays. Show everybody, hey, we were on TV at the Marlins game this year. Cameron Maben, one of the bats due up in this inning. He'll be up after Martin Prado. So Prado, Maben, Rojas in the bottom of the 9th. Flaherty stays in the game. He is at first. And Evan Phillips in his 3rd game this season will try to get the last 3 outs for Atlanta, who I'm sure will make a beeline to the hotel to get some rest tonight.
You mentioned scoreboard watching. It's probably a little bit early, but a lot of times in games like this, we tend to scoreboard watch a little bit. Braves obviously up 12-1, and barring a incredible comeback from the Marlins here in the bottom of the 9th inning, Braves will pick up a win. Los Angeles Dodgers were up 4-1 moving into the later innings in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Phillies have responded. 4-run bottom of the 5th. That game is now tied at 5. They go to the 8th.
And that game that we also had our eyes on, the Daniel Ponce de Leon, who was through 7 no-hit innings. He left the game after those innings, had 116 pitches. And not only did the St. Louis Cardinals bullpen give up a hit, but also a run. So it is now 1-1. And the Reds, who were out of the hit column all night long until the 8th inning, currently have the winning run on at second base with 2 outs in the 9th as Prado flies out to Markakis in right for the first out here in the 9th. Cameron Maben down in the count 0-1. Another base hit for him in the 4th inning. And he'll add his 2nd hit here in the 9th. For Maben, his 12th multi-hit game of the year. Brett Graves. The only other position player on the roster is Garrett Cooper, but as we told you earlier, had an MRI on his hand, wrist area. Then he'll also go see a hand specialist. Haven't seen any results on that just yet, but it's that same wrist that has hampered him for a good chunk of the 2018 season. Not on the DL, certainly possible, but that would be why Graves is hitting here in the 9th inning. Into the 2nd deck, a ball and 2 strikes. Cut on and missed. And the Marlins are down to their last out. JT Riddle walked in his first plate appearance back in the 7th inning. And excuse me, foul ball there. 0-1. In a quick turnaround tomorrow for the last of this short 2-game series. Julio Teheran for the Braves. Wei-In Chen for the Marlins. Camp day here at the ballpark. Get a lot of kids.
I'll tell you what, Chen's the right man for the job. Today is a bad loss, and just about any way you're going to slice it or dice it. Chen, 1.83 ERA here at Marlins Park this season. He has been lights out, fantastic. Pitching at home.
On the ground to second, and that will do it. The Atlanta Braves take the opener by a final count of 12-1. It's kind of a steady stream of runs tonight to knock off the Miami Marlins. Back to wrap it up on the Marlins Live postgame show after the break.